Ishikawa Goemon, a legend forged in fire. Kyoto, Japan. The 8th of October, 1594. The air is thick with the stench of scorched wood, and something far more sinister. A metallic tang that clings to the throat and quickens the pulse. You stand in a restless crowd, pressed between merchants, draped in fine silks, and peasants in tattered robes, samurai with swords at their hips, and servants whispering in awe. All eyes are fixed on the execution grounds, where a monstrous iron cauldron looms like a gaping wound in the earth. Steam curls upward from its depths, ghostly tendrils twisting toward a bruised autumn sky. The low, guttural simmer of boiling oil reverberates through the crowd, a sound that burrows into your bones and lingers like a curse. Two figures kneel before the cauldron, their wrists bound with coarse rope, their fates sealed by the man who rules Japan. Ishikawa Goemon, broad-shouldered and unbowed despite his chains, his dark hair plastered with sweat and grime, stares defiantly into the distance. Beside him, his son, a boy of no more than 7, trembles not from the chill of the morning, but from a terror so raw it seems to pulse from his small frame. In moments, they will face a death so horrific it defies comprehension, lowered into the seething oil as the crowd watches, breathless with dread and fascination. Yet this is no mere execution. It is a moment that will sear itself into the soul of a nation, a father's love and defiance forging a legend that will outlast empires. To understand this moment, you must step back into a Japan fractured by war, where honor was a blade's edge and survival a daily gamble. A world where one man's rebellion would spark a fire that still burns in the hearts of the oppressed. Before we unravel this tale of courage and tragedy, if you're drawn to the hidden corners of history, consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories that breathe life into the past. Share in the comments where you're joining us from across oceans and centuries. Our curiosity binds us to these forgotten souls. A child of chaos. The year is 1558, and Japan is a land in torment. The Sengoku period, an age of warring states, has turned the country into a crucible of blood and ambition. Warlords clash for dominion, their armies carving paths of destruction through rice fields and villages. Into this maelstrom, a child is born, Sonada Kuronoshin, heir to a samurai family loyal to the Moshi clan in Ezo province. His life might have followed the path of duty, his hands trained to wield a sword in service to his lord. But fate, cruel and capricious, had other designs. Imagine a boy of 15, standing in the ruins of his childhood. The air is heavy with the coppery scent of blood, the wooden floors of his home slick with the life of his parents. The Ashikaga shogunate's men came under cover of darkness, their blades swift and unforgiving. His father, Ishikawa Akashi, was no traitor, merely a man caught on the wrong side of a political rift that shifted like tides in a storm. Kuronoshin clutches his father's sword, its hilt still warm with the blood of those who struck him down. The killers have vanished into the night, leaving only death and silence in their wake. In this moment, Sonada Kuronoshin dies, and something fiercer is born, a spark of vengeance that will ignite a legend. The making of a shadow. The boy seeks refuge in the mountains, under the tutelage of Momochi Sandayu, a ninja master whose name is whispered with fear and reverence. In the shadowed strongholds of the Eiga school, where silence is a weapon and darkness an ally, Kuronoshin learns the arts of the shinobi. He masters the blade's whisper, the art of moving unseen, the lethal grace of assassination that turns men into ghosts. Yet even here, in a world of discipline and death, his heart betrays him. He falls in love with a woman whose beauty history has erased, a concubine of his master. Their love is a fleeting defiance of the rigid codes that govern their world. When Momochi discovers the affair, the punishment is exile or death. Kuronoshin chooses to flee, but not before stealing a treasure that will define his legacy, a sword of exquisite craftsmanship, its blade gleaming with a light that seems to hum with its own life. This theft brands him a nukenin, a runaway ninja, a man stripped of honor and home. Sonada Kuronoshin vanishes into the mists, and from those mists rises Ishikawa Goemon, a name that will echo through Japan as both a curse and a prayer. The thief who stole hope. By the late 16th century, the Kansai region is a land of stark contrasts. Merchants amass fortunes while peasants starve, their hands calloused from toil that enriches others. Samurai lords hoard treasures, and Buddhist temples gleam with gold that could feed villages for generations. Into this world of inequality steps Goemon, a thief whose blade cuts not just through locks but through the very fabric of injustice. Picture a moonless night in 1580, the mansion of an Osaka merchant silent under a starless sky. Guards patrol with the arrogance of men who have never known true danger. Inside, the merchant dreams of trade routes and profit, his strongboxes brimming with gold. He does not hear the soft tread of feet on his roof, nor see the shadow that slips through his window like ink spilling across parchment. He wakes only to the cold kiss of steel at his throat, and eyes that burn with the fury of the forgotten. "Your wealth or your life," Goemon whispers, his voice carrying the weight of 1,000 unheard cries. But this is no ordinary theft. Goemon's raids are acts of rebellion, a redistribution of wealth from the powerful to the powerless. By dawn, the merchants' coffers are empty, and in the villages beyond Osaka, miracles unfold. A sack of rice appears on a widow's doorstep. Silver coins find their way into the hands of a beggar. Medicine arrives for a dying child, paid for with gold, stamped with the merchant's seal. These acts of defiance birth a legend, whispered in the fields and alleys. Ishikawa Goemon, the thief who steals from the rich to give to the poor. His band of outcasts becomes a phantom in the night, striking at the wealthy and vanishing before dawn. The common people speak his name with reverence, a champion who dares to challenge the order that crushes them. Children grow up on tales of the noble thief, a figure larger than life, a storm of justice in a world tilted toward tyranny. The rise of a rival. While Goemon carves his name in the shadows, another man rises in the light of day. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, born a peasant, has climbed to the pinnacle of power through cunning and conquest. Where Goemon wields stealth, Hideyoshi commands armies. Where Goemon redistributes wealth, Hideyoshi amasses it. Both men, born from nothing, are bound by ambition, yet their paths are destined to collide. By the 1592, Hideyoshi has unified Japan, ending the Sengoku period's chaos. His rule brings peace, but it is a peace built on absolute control. He sees Goemon not as a hero but as a threat, a spark of rebellion that could ignite the fragile order he has forged. The clash between them is inevitable, sparked not by grand strategy but by a personal tragedy that turns a thief into an avenger. Goemon's wife, Otaki, a woman of radiant beauty, is taken by Hideyoshi's agents. Some say she died shielding their son, others claim she was executed for her husband's crimes. The truth is lost, but the wound it leaves in Goemon's heart is a fire that cannot be quenched. His thefts, once driven by justice, now burn with vengeance. The Night of Reckoning. Fushimi Castle, Kyoto, September 1594. The fortress gleams under the moonlight, its walls a testament to Hideyoshi's power. Inside, the ruler of Japan sleeps, surrounded by guards and traps designed to thwart any intruder. But Goemon is no ordinary man. He moves through the castle like a wisp of smoke, his ninja training guiding him past sentries and through labyrinthine corridors. He reaches Hideyoshi's chamber, a starkly simple room for a man of such power. Hideyoshi lies on his futon, his breathing steady, his face softened by sleep. For a moment, Goemon pauses, gazing at the peasant who became a king. The stolen sword in his hand catches the moonlight, its edge whispering of retribution. One strike, and the tyrant will fall, but fate intervenes. A bronze bell, perched on a table, clatters to the floor with a sound that shatters the silence. Guards swarm the room, swords drawn, and Hideyoshi wakes, his eyes sharp with calculation. "So, the great Ishikawa Goemon shows his face," Hideyoshi says, his voice calm but laced with menace. Goemon stands surrounded, his blade useless, his mission failed. He knows what awaits, not just death, but a punishment designed to break the spirit of a nation. A defiant stand. The trial in Fushimi Castle's great hall is a spectacle of power. Goemon stands bound, his gaze unyielding as Hideyoshi pronounces the charges: theft, banditry, and attempted assassination. The court waits for a plea, but Goemon delivers a speech that will echo through history. "I am guilty," he declares, his voice resonant with conviction. "I have stolen from those who hoard while others starve. I have defied laws that crush the weak. And yes, I sought your life, Hideyoshi, for you have forgotten that power must serve, not enslave." The hall erupts in gasps, but Goemon continues. "If this is treason, then I am a traitor. If justice is a crime, then I am a criminal. Do with me as you will, but know this. The poor will always find champions, and tyrants will always breed rebellion. Hideyoshi's face is a mask, but his eyes burn with fury. This is not just defiance, it is a challenge to his very legacy. The sentence is unthinkable. Death by boiling, a punishment so rare it chills the blood of even the hardened courtiers. But Hideyoshi's cruelty knows no bounds. Your son will share your fate, he decrees, so all may see the cost of rebellion. Goemon's composure shatters. The boy is innocent, he pleads, his voice breaking. Kill me, but spare him. Hideyoshi's response is cold. He carries your blood, your defiance. Japan has no place for either. The final night. In a dank cell, Goemon holds his son close, the boy's small body pressed against his side. Papa, will we die tomorrow? The child asks, his voice trembling. Goemon, who has never lied to his son, nods. Yes, he says, his heart breaking. It will hurt, but I will be with you. I will hold you, and I will not let go. The boy nods, finding solace in his father's promise. Through the night, Goemon composes his death poem, a final testament to his beliefs. Though you may boil a thief's body, you cannot boil away his spirit. Thieves will rise as long as rich and poor divide. It is a prophecy, a declaration that his fight will outlive him. The Cauldron's Embrace, the 8th of October 1594, Nanzenji Temple. The execution ground is a theatre of horror, the crowd a sea of faces torn between dread and fascination. The iron cauldron dominates the scene, its oil simmering with lethal heat, steam rising like the breath of a malevolent god. Hideyoshi watches from a raised platform, his face unreadable. Goemon and his son are led forward, the boy clinging to his father's robes. The executioner recites the procedure with grim precision. They will be lowered feet. First, their suffering prolonged. Goemon's grip on his son tightens as the boy looks up, eyes wide with trust. I will not let go, Goemon whispers. As the guards move to separate them, Goemon acts with a strength born of desperation. He lifts his son high above his head, defying the chains that bind him. The crowd gasps. This is not submission, but defiance. If you must have our deaths, Goemon shouts, take mine first. Let the boy die quickly. Hideyoshi's nod is a death knell. The chain lowers, and Goemon's feet touch the oil. His body convulses, but his arms remain steady, holding his son aloft. The oil climbs knees, waist, chest, each inch an agony beyond imagining. The boy screams, and the crowd weeps, some turning away, unable to bear the sight. As the oil reaches Goemon's neck, his strength falters. In a final act of mercy, he plunges his son into the oil, ensuring a swift death rather than prolonged torment. Then, with his last breath, he raises the boy's body high, a defiant banner against the tyranny he fought. His eyes lock with Hideyoshi's, burning with hatred until the oil claims him. A legacy unbroken. Hideyoshi intended the execution to crush rebellion, but it did the opposite. The image of a father holding his son above the cauldron, defying death itself, transformed Goemon into a folk hero. His story spread, his death poem became a rallying cry, and his name a symbol of resistance. The iron cauldron, dubbed Goemon Bureau, became a grim tribute, a reminder of his sacrifice in every steaming bath. Kabuki plays and novels immortalized him, painting him as a hero of superhuman courage. Yet his true legacy is a question. When injustice reigns, do we submit or resist? Goemon chose resistance, paying the ultimate price. His son, an innocent caught in his father's war, reminds us of the cost of such choices. 4 centuries later, Goemon's fire still burns. In a world where inequality persists, his story challenges us to confront our own consciences. The cauldron has cooled, but the echo of a father's love, defiant and eternal, rings across the ages, calling us to decide, will we carry his banner, and at what cost?